Stavi, as someone who isn't married, I need your take. Basically, I'm in a 6-year relationship.
6
and
years.
Everything's great. No issues there. We trust each other. We communicate well. And we just, honestly, we just have a laugh. Like, it's great. However,
Trying to place this
my
accent.
boyfriend is a few years older than me, turning 30 this year.
Oh,
and we've
Irish?
just been to the first wedding of 4 weddings this year. And they're all either his family or friends. Like, my group are definitely not
Bonnie
in
Lass.
that stage right now. But at the wedding we were just at, there were a few comments thrown around about how he needs to wife me up, put a ring on it, etc. And here lies the issue. I guess my view is that I don't think I want to get married or have kids because, well, the way I kind of rationalize it to myself is I feel like I'd only be doing it because society expects me to do it, not because it's genuinely what I want to do deep down. However, I'm also that annoying woke person who like hates establishment and like gets a kick out of, I guess, going against the grain. So then on the flip side, I'm asking myself, do I actually not want to get married and have kids because I just enjoy being difficult and annoying, which is maybe my ego and isn't being true to myself either. I don't know if that even makes sense, but
it does.
I mean, kids is pretty much flat out no, nothing's coming out of that orifice. But marriage, is it something I should reconsider? I think my partner's fairly keen to do both, and I love him very much, but I'm not really sure where that leaves us. Anyway, love you, babes. Bye.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to land with Scottish. I don't think it's Irish.
I thought it was Irish.
I think, yeah.
Oh, I guess it could be Scottish.
I think that, I don't know. Well, either way, sorry if we're wrong.
This is a very important question, and let's definitely get to it, but I just want to, I've got a take that I've been brewing on for the last, 2 weeks. I don't think that the new Outback Steakhouse voice guy is actually Australian.
Oh shit!
Listen to his voice.
I think I've only heard the commercial in passing.
Yeah,
but it's really over the top. It's
like no rules, just right. It's like that's not. It's somebody pretending to do an Australian accent. I don't know how we can prove it or how we can look it up.
Look up Outback Steakhouse voice actor, Eldis.
But Stavi, I love that your audience trusts you so much.
Yeah.
That they hit you up and they're like, Stavi, should I get married? And like, I can think of no better compliment that a man can have with his audience, that they trust you that implicitly.
Yes. Well, I have some thoughts here. Okay, so apparently it's this guy, Toby Ricketts.
Where's he from?
Where's he from? Let's find out.
He's a British voiceover.
British. Oh, wait. His dialects ranging from, he specializes, but where is he from? He doesn't want, I bet you he doesn't want to say.
Yeah, he's a chameleon, man.
He's not Australian, I'm telling you.
Toby Ricketts is a multi-award winning national voiceover artist, 25 plus years of experience. Where is he from? Where did he grow up? His custom built studio.
I don't know if we're going to find it.
In the heart of New Zealand.
Toby. Oh, New Zealand.
From his
not
custom-built
Australia.
studio in the heart of New Zealand.
Okay.
I knew there was something up with him.
So something a little off.
Yeah.
Not quite. It's like Canada, but it's a little. I think
there's a difference.
There's a difference. I think
they
you're right.
Vegemite as opposed to Vegemite.
All right. I'm glad we got, vindicated PFT.
Yeah, I feel good. Like, that's honestly, like, that's maybe the best take I've ever had to call that shot.
You called that.
They tried to fuck us up.
And they did overdo it. Like, it's very, I feel like it's a more intense, there's more bells and whistles on his voice, I think. Now, going back to
private equity, that's what that does.
Yeah, dude, they cut it down.
They're ruining our voice actors.
You can't. Australians need to be voicing our fake Australian chain that was started in like Florida or something. Okay, so our pal here. Now, there's a couple things going on here. One, I think our friend is dealing with sort of like the kind of like militant girl version of like, we were like kind of trolls early in our youth, like in our 20s. And we talked about it earlier in the episode where it's like, you're kind of trying, you were like this, your whole persona was a character. You were never really yourself. And like, when old men try and stay trolls and try and be, dude, there's nothing more pathetic than an edgy 40-year-old man, right? Like, I'm going there. You don't have anything to say. You just like getting a rise out of people. I think you could argue the flip side of that is like a girl who, like, you know, in college is like, fuck the patriarchy. I'm never getting married. And then you kind of grow up and you're like, I probably don't want kids, but I love this guy. And making a commitment to him is not the same as like I think maybe our friend here might be holding on to like her more extreme values of youth. Everybody softens in youth. Yeah. I don't believe that. I think there's a bullshit thing of like the older you get, the more conservative you get. I don't think that's true at all. I think if that's true, you're selfish. And like, you know, there's that adage. But I think whatever you are, most people don't become more extreme with age. Yeah. They tend to soften.
You see the nuance everywhere.
I mean, I guess a lot of people are getting weirdly radicalized by QAnon shit these days, but it's not who they were. They just become a totally different person because of mental illness.
There is a change in one way or the other depending on how angry you are at the world at that time.
For sure. And I guess actually maybe the world is getting so much worse that I probably have a little more extreme like redistribution politics than I did. But I would say from something so personal, I think like it's easy to have certain ideas and then you're faced with them when you grow up. And you're like, the idea of like fuck marriage as an institution, that's easy to say when you're 20 and you haven't met someone you love more than anything. You haven't met someone that you want to settle down with. And then you meet them and you're like you could have a commitment ceremony. You don't have to get married in a church. Yeah. I married Eldest for Christ's sake. It wasn't a real ceremony.
Did you have somebody that was ordained by like the minister of the universe?
I was ordained by the Universal Life Church.
He was ordained, but it was fake because we already like did it at City Hall. Yeah. But we just kind of did it for, you know, the wow factor at this little restaurant.
This I don't want to say this type of girl because she sounds actually very well adjusted.
I love her. Look, she's one of our pals. She's a subscriber, you know what I mean? Yeah.
But I have seen this type of person in rom-coms before.
This is a classic rom-com setup.
Where it's like, I will never settle down with a man. No man can treat me as good enough as I will treat myself.
Exactly.
And then you meet Prince Charming, you're like, I will suck his dick. That sort of thing. I'm not saying that's where she's at, but I
know what you're talking about. It's more like workaholic has no time for a man because she's married to the job. Yeah. That's kind of the rom-com thing for sure. Like,
then Matthew McConaughey comes in.
And then he's laid back and he annoys you, but there's just something about him, you know? Like, yes, this is a different person, but yes, I know what you're talking about. And by the way, those rom-com characters statistically are correct. Single, like women without children, like they have all these like mortality statistics. It's like, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do it because I think you're clearly sacrificing something for the next generation, but it's like women without kids, like if you look at like quality of life, like mortality, like there's just so much unmarried women that have it. Because like in most of our families, it's like the women are fucking like a lot of women like sacrifice a lot for like my friends who have kids, like the women, like my friends who have kids, the dudes, they're like, yeah, it's pretty fun. It's sleeps a little bad. And then, but your friends who are girls that have newborn babies, they're like, I've thought about myself every day, even though he's the light of my life. You know what I mean? Like the what it takes out of a woman is crazy. So I get where she's coming from.
The dads are like, I don't get to play as much golf as I'd like to. The women are like, I had to go to the doctor 4 times last week because I had a nipple infection.
Yes, exactly. Dude, when they're feeding on, you're literally
sucking life out of.
They're sucking your life force.
Yeah.
Like you're literally, it's like crazy.
I'm drinking her bones right now. That's what
I made my mom melt down some of her bones so I can suck them out of her tits.
Yeah, no, this in this case, I understand. Actually, I completely understand why a woman in her teens, 20s, maybe even 30s, like they might not really be super into the prospect of marriage. Sure. Because they're hanging out with a bunch of 23-year-old guys.
True.
And do you really? Nobody.
Is that who you want to settle down with?
Nobody should want to marry a 23-year-old guy.
That's a great point.
I was the biggest piece of shit when I was like 23.
Me too. Are you kidding me?
Unmarriable.
Without question.
Unmarriable. In fact, it would like the kind of girl that would want to marry me at 23. I wouldn't want to marry either.
Of course.
Like it's as you get older, you start to mature a little bit. You find nuance in things. I don't know if it's soft around the edges, but you develop a better understanding about why people are the way they are.
And who you are, by the way.
And who you are, too.
Because you have this fake understanding of this is the type of person I'm going to be. And then you actually face stuff, and you might react differently than you thought you would, and you realize who you actually are. And, just it's very fluid the more you age.
Yeah. In her case, I would say that divorce is an option.
Sure.
It is.
Sure.
Like if you don't have kids,
yeah.
Divorce, it's sad.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Sure.
Everybody's upset for a little bit. It will affect your future relationships because you'll be thinking, you might spend time blaming yourself for things. It can fuck with you mentally, but divorce is a viable option if you decide, I don't really want to be with this guy for the rest of my life.
And the other thing I'll say is like, yes, I agree. And if you love him and you really want that, that's fine. Now, so basically I think we're kind of landing on, you're not betraying your belief system if you get married to somebody you love more than anything in the world. Don't be that fucking dumb. You know?
All those poems I wrote in college don't mean anything to me anymore.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But now, the only thing that kind of got my antenna up a little bit is that she's definitely doesn't want kids. And at the very end, she says, I think my partner is keen on both. Yeah. Now that is the actual deal breaker.
Yes.
Because if this is the guy that you love, you have this great relationship with, and you say, hey, I don't really want to get married in the church. I don't want to make a big deal about it, but I love you. I want to be with you forever. And he wants that too. And then you're like, of course, like I've told you. Now that's changed, but I want to be very clear. I never want kids. Yep. And this is not something, if you really want them, we shouldn't get married, because this is not something I'm going to change my mind on. I don't want you pressuring me, because sometimes I think people do that too. Whether they want kids or they don't want kids, they think they can change a fundamental opinion of their partner, and they're like, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Mm-hmm. And then you get there, and that's to me, I think this couple could get married no problem. I think the problem would be if he really wants kids and you really don't want kids. That's why you don't get married. Yeah. Not because of some idea of wanting to be like a contrarian to your mom or whatever the fuck.
Right. I think you would, if he really wanted kids, you would either go through a phase where one person was pressuring the other, you get into a lot of fights, and then on the outcome of that, you would carry resentment towards that person.
Without question.
And if you didn't have resentment to him for him constantly being like, do you want kids? Do you want kids? He would hold resentment like, I'm never going to have the life that I wanted.
That I really wanted, yeah.
And even if you guys grow old together, it'll be like that old couple that just hate each other. Had no idea why they live together.
Right.
If they just go out to eat like once a week, they don't talk at the dinner table. It's very awkward for everybody.
Of course.
So there's
a lot of places for love to disappear, that's for sure. So yeah, you're still relatively young. It sounds like she says he's 30, she's a couple years younger. You just have to, again, let that shit go of what you thought. You're in a place now where your life is really like, but actually talk about the stuff that matters. I think marriage is something you can sort of, cave on if you want to look at it that way. But kids, it sounds like, she seems pretty dead set. So just whatever it is, make sure you guys are on the same page. And it can be sad, by the way. It sucks if you completely line up except for kids, and that happens, know. And some people really don't want them, and I get that. I'm a wishy-washy guy. I could go either way, honestly.
She's gone to what, 4 weddings? Mm-hmm. So that's been like the only thing you've been thinking about.
Yeah, you're going through the gauntlet too.
The gauntlet. So you're always thinking about weddings. Everyone around you is getting married. Like when I moved to New York, I never fucking liked the Knicks ever. Yeah. But then the Knicks started winning some games. Yeah. I'm like, kind of fun being in the atmosphere of the Knicks winning a playoff game.
It's love.
And I'm like, I kind of hope the Knicks win tonight.
Yeah.
That would be great. That's what you're going through.
You go to enough weddings, you're like, ooh.
I can see myself.
I could be in one of these.
Getting drunk in a suit.
Yeah. With the people I actually like in the world. Yeah. It is. They are fun. A good wedding's fucking great. But yeah, good luck out there. Our guest was Scottish. Hopefully we're right.